Today I'm going to share with you all of our curriculum picks for my 7th and 8th graders, my middle schoolers or junior high school kids, all of the homeschool curriculum that I am planning on using with them this school year. Welcome to day 2 of Back to School Week, a celebration that we host here on our channel in August to celebrate the back to school season. I will be posting videos every day this week with back to school content, so make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the videos coming out. As part of the celebration, I am also doing a giveaway this week. Now, all of the details are down below in the description box about the giveaway, but overall, just a quick little preview. I am doing a back to school homeschool mom survival kit. I will be sending one of you a care package in the mail, jam-packed full of all of my favorites for the back to school season, things that are a blessing to any homeschool mom to help her start out her homeschool year right. Now, I tried to make entering this giveaway super simple for you guys. All you have to do is watch each of these videos this week in our back to school series and comment on them down below. All right, so now that we've talked about the giveaway, let me introduce myself in case you are new around here. My name is Sarah. I am the homeschool mom to 5 kids. They range in age from toddlers all the way up to teenagers. My youngest is 1, my oldest just turned 14. But today I want to focus on my 2 oldest kids, my 7th and my 8th graders for the 2021-2022 school year. That's bizarre to say out loud. I cannot believe how fast time is flying by. But it is true, I do. I have 2 middle schoolers or junior high school kids, however you label them in your part of the country. Now, before we jump in and start talking too much about the specifics of all of the curriculum and books that I have stacked up here on my dining room table, let me tell you just a little bit about my kids. First up, let's talk about my oldest, Noah. He just turned 14 and he is going into the 8th grade this fall. He is definitely a visual learner, just like his mama. He likes to be shown something on a whiteboard or with an illustration before he tries to tackle it himself. Now, on the flip side of that, Leah, she is 12, going into 7th grade this year. She is an auditory learner. She loves to listen and hear things, and she can just pick it up so fast just by listening to it one time. So I have 2 very different learners and I am grouping them together in a lot of my curriculum picks today. They are doing many of the same subjects and the same exact bookwork this year. And if you have been homeschooling for a while, if you have multiple kids, you know that anytime you can pair kids off together and have them use the same workbook or the same level, it just makes your life as mama so much easier. It also makes it a little bit more fun for them to have a buddy, to have somebody doing the same work that they are doing. It does breed a little bit of competition, which can sometimes be healthy, but it also gives them someone that they can relate to, that they can ask questions to, or have great discussions with as they are doing their subjects and doing their work. All right, so let's jump in and look through all of the workbooks and curriculum I have picked here. I will make sure to put a list of everything that I am talking about today down below in the description box, as well as links to anything that I can include for you guys just to make it easy. First up, we have math. If you have been around our channel for a while, you know that we are Math UC lovers. We have used this program for the entirety of our homeschool. We are going into year 10 with Math UC. We love Demi learning. It has just been a really good fit for our family. So Leah is going to be finishing up Zeta. She has about 6 lessons. She's going into lesson 25. So about 6 more weeks in Zeta, and then she is going to be jumping into pre-algebra. I actually haven't even taken the cellophane off of this yet, but she'll be jumping into pre-algebra after that. Now, Noah, my 8th grader, is almost halfway through pre-algebra, so he will just be picking that up where he left off. And then if we finish pre-algebra this year with him, then he will jump into the next level in Math UC. I've talked to a lot of other Math UC families, and there is a really big jump in the amount of work and how challenging it is from Zeta to pre-algebra. So pre-algebra is very challenging, and so I am really encouraging Noah to take his time, really understand the material, go very slow through this curriculum to go along with Math UC. Obviously, we have their manipulative blocks. They still use these all the way up through some of these higher levels. So we have those. And then I also have, I bought these secondhand for $5 at a curriculum sale, but the Math UC algebra and decimal inserts, we have those as well for them to use. They're a little bit different if you've never seen them, but these are great. Again, they really help to make math visual, which works really well for Noah. Two other musts that go along with this curriculum, at least in our house, is I have purchased each of the kids their own personal DVD players so that they can watch the math lessons on their own and watch them multiple times without having to worry about turning on the big TV. They have their own little DVD players at their desks, and so they can watch the Math UC lessons when they need to. Obviously, they also have headphones to go along with this. The other item that I think is a must for Math UC at this point is a nice calculator. I've talked about these here before on my channel, but I just bought these very basic scientific calculators from Amazon. They were around $30 for the kids. So I bought each of them one of these last year, and they don't use these for every single lesson, but we kind of pick and choose which worksheets and which lessons they are allowed to use their calculators on. When they're doing pre-algebra, some of those lessons, some of those problems are very, very long and intense, and it could take them an hour to do a worksheet if they are not using a calculator to kind of speed things up. Now, before we move on from math, I am just going to be honest with you guys. I was really tempted to switch to teaching textbooks this year. As I am having more children and having more kids that I'm having to homeschool on a day-to-day basis, keeping up with grading is a challenge for me. I have a really hard time keeping up with all of the kids. And so teaching textbooks was very tempting for me because they are grading everything for you as you go along. However, after a lot of thought and talking to some other homeschool moms, I realized that if something is working for your children, don't change it. I'm just going to stick with Math UC because it is working for my kids. And so I'm just going to have to figure out a better system this year for grading. If any of you have any suggestions or ideas on how to do that, please leave me a comment. I would love to hear any thoughts you have on how you keep up on grading with your homeschool kids. All right, moving on to language arts. This is when you can tell I'm an eclectic homeschooler because I kind of hodgepodge different things together in this area. First of all, we love IEW for writing, and so my kids are going to be doing Structure and Style Year 1 Level B. They have done other levels from IEW. We did Structure and Style Level A and the continuation course to that. We have done some of their theme-based writing like Narnia. If you are not familiar with this course, it does come along with a DVD set that is taught by Andrew Poudwa. So again, those personal DVD players are going to come in handy for them to be watching the videos or lessons week in and week out. This type of system works really well for Noah and Leah. It's helped them to become more independent in their schoolwork as they have gotten older, watching a DVD and then doing the lessons and assignments on their own and then coming and asking me questions or for help when they need to. This has just really worked for us as my kids have gotten older. Next up is spelling, and we love Spelling UC. This is a program that we have used for years and years in our homeschool. Now, this is one of the subjects that you can tell we are year-round homeschoolers. I don't necessarily feel any pressure to start at the next level or the next grade level just because it's August and it's the beginning of a new school year. We just start in the next lesson. So that means that Noah is going to be working through part 2 of Level E, American Spirit, and Leah is going to be working through part 2 of Level F, Ancient Achievements. They will most likely get through most of these workbooks this school year, and so Leah will move into G and then Noah will just move into F. We just take it one lesson at a time and go at their pace. It's one of the reasons I love Spelling UC. It is not grade level based, it is skill based, and so we just love Spelling UC. Next up in language arts is grammar, and I'm going to be honest, I have lost a lot of sleep trying to decide what grammar program I wanted to use with Noah and Leah this school year. I went back and forth between several different programs, but finally landed on analytical grammar. Now, I am using this for a couple of reasons. First of all, it comes with DVD lessons and a workbook, something that I know tried and true works really well for my older kids for them to be more independent. Also, it has been recommended to me by other veteran homeschool moms who have homeschooled all the way through and have kids who have completed high school. They recommend this program for grammar at this age, and so I'm going to trust in their experience and in their recommendations. The other factor in this is that grammar is not one of my strong areas. I do really enjoy sentence diagramming and picking out the different parts of speech, but I'm not very good at it. Sometimes you can enjoy a subject and not be the best at it or not be the best at teaching it. So I know that having somebody who is more confident in this subject and can teach it really well will be the best match for my kids. All right, so the last branch of language arts that I want to talk about is literature or reading. Books that I want my kids to tackle this school year. And I'm going to kind of go back to basics. I'm not going to do anything overly complicated. I am simply just going to pick a chapter book for them to read to go along with each of our Gather Round units that we are covering as a family. Gather Round provides a wonderful book suggestion list to go along with each one of their units that is broken down by age level. So they will have some suggestions for middle schoolers and high schoolers. And so I will just pick a book off of the suggested book list and have my kids read that independently. The other thing that I do with my kids, and I can always do a video devoted just to this, but we do what is called literature logs. I assign a certain amount of reading, a certain number of chapters that I want them to tackle every single week, and then they are responsible for doing a written narration about what they read in that chapter book. So for instance, if they are reading Little House on the Prairie and they read chapters 1 through 5, I will have them write out a written narration of what they learned in chapters 1 through 5. And this only has to be, 7 or 8 sentences. It doesn't have to be anything, too long or robust. I don't worry about spelling. I don't worry about grammar. I don't worry about punctuation. This is just a time for them to show mama that they read the book and what really stuck out to them. The other thing that I have them do to go in their literature logs is I also have them do an illustration, whether that is a picture that was in the book that they are copying and doing artwork of their own, or just something that they have an image in their mind that they have as they read the chapter book. And so let me grab the book real quick, I forgot it. So I always make sure to have lots of art paper on hand. I really like these art alternative notebooks. I buy these off of Rainbow Resource. They are just big, thick, spiral bound art paper. I also purchased some of these like mixed media spiral notebooks for them so that they have lots of art paper to use with colored pencils or watercolors, markers, whatever they want. But every single week they will be writing out a written narration about what they're reading in their literature and also do an illustration to go along with it. All right, next up is history, geography, social studies, government, all of those kind of subjects put together. We are going to do a new curriculum to our family, U.S. History Detective Book 1, and this is put out by the Critical Thinking Company. I actually heard about this curriculum from another YouTube mama, Becky from A Place to Nest. I'll make sure to link her channel down below. But she used this with one of her daughters and did a flip through of it. Each lesson is just about 2 or 3 pages of reading. It also has some really nice colorful illustrations. And then built right into the textbook, into the workbook, is 9 or 10 review questions that they have to do. I also love this curriculum because it is very inexpensive. I think this workbook was in the $30, $35 range. I bought it off of Amazon. So this was a really good solution for them for this school year. All right, moving on to science. This was another choice that I was just going back and forth with for a long time, but I finally settled on something that I already owned, that I already had in the basement, and we had not utilized. And that is the Answers in Genesis, God's Design for the Physical World set. There are 3 different textbooks to go in this series. The first one is Machines and Motion. The next one is inventions and technology. And then lastly is heat and energy. And these are 3 areas of science that I don't feel like I have covered really well with the kids in their elementary school age years. So I really feel like this will be a good fit for them to cover all of their science bases before they start high school. Now, this curriculum I have owned for many years. I think this is the 3rd edition. I think there are probably newer editions. I know Master Books also does some of this curriculum now. I originally bought this from Answers in Genesis many years ago, but it is designed for 3rd through 8th grade. So you can use this as a family subject or use this with younger kids. I'm going to use it independently for my 7th and 8th grader. Then as far as group subjects, obviously you guys know we are a gather round family. If you watched yesterday's video, I talked about what units we are going to be tackling in gather round this school year. But specifically what I'm going to be doing with my middle schoolers, with Noah and Leah, is they will be listening to our gather round study at the end of our morning time each morning. They will take notes on the lesson that day, and then they will have one additional worksheet that they are responsible for doing in their gather round notebooks. And that is it. Their gather round work is going to be much lighter this year and in years past because obviously they are doing so much independent work. The other thing, as I mentioned earlier, they will be doing literature choices or reading picks from each of the gather round units. And then they can participate as much as they feel like they have time or they want to whenever we are doing hands-on activities or other type of rabbit trails in our gather round time. The other group subjects that we tackle as a family is morning time, and that is kind of a hodgepodge of a lot of different subjects that I tend to change seasonally as we go throughout our school year. I'm not going to talk about our morning time in these videos this week. I am going to devote entire videos to what is in our morning basket or what is in our morning time throughout the school year this year as we go from one season to the next. So make sure that you subscribe if you are interested in seeing what we do for morning time. And then moving on to electives, both Noah and Leah take weekly piano lessons, so they will be continuing with that. We also participate in a homeschool gym class where a bunch of homeschool families get together and do gym once a week. So we are hoping to be a part of that again this year. And then I mentioned this yesterday in the Gather Round video, but we are going to continue our Gather Round Artists unit. We will be covering that about once a week in our homeschool, so that will be a lot of our fine arts or art study for them. And then Bible. Bible is something I'm going to put here under electives, but honestly, it's not something that we really consider part of our school day. I don't even really like to call it part of our homeschool because it's part of our life. It's part of our daily walk with the Lord. It's part of our family culture, but I wanted to put just for your guys' reference what my kids are doing for their Bible studies this year. Thought I would share those with you here. So you might recognize this bag right here. This is from Not Consumed. I was really excited to buy this whole set on sale a few weeks ago when she was having her back to school sale. I bought Noah and Leah together just this one big set of 9 different Bible studies from her youth selection, and I thought I would just let them go through one study at a time, let them pick one of the studies to do independently. Real quick, if you're not familiar with the Not Consumed studies, here's the ones that they will have to choose from. Obey, a biblical study of the importance of obedience. Oh my goodness, what parent does not want their child to study that? Keep thy heart, how your heart attitude determines your path. Foundations of Faith. My Brother's Keeper, learning to love your siblings God's way. Again, anybody with a big family, lots of brothers and sisters, I think that this would be great for any child to read. Navigating Friendships, a Bible study for teens. Fruit of the Tongue, a Bible study of the power of words. A Content Heart, finding godly contentment in a me-first world. Do Right, learning to make wise choices in the face of temptation, and then developing a quiet time. Now, as a bonus to go along with the bag and the studies, they also sent, which I just think is so fun for junior high kids, this big bag of pens to go along with each of the different studies. I mean, they're really fun. You can see here there's an avocado pen and a cactus cactus and a key, a wooden spoon, all different things that go with the different studies. My kids will get a really big kick out of these. They also sent a bunch of buttons to go along with each one of the studies. Oh, and in the back of each one, I've noticed there's also stickers. Leah, my 7th grader, she is going to love this. She loves stickers for planners and things like that. So I think that these will be really great. Again, just kind of those stepping stones of having my kids reading God's word for themselves, studying on their own. This will be a really fun way for them to do that this school year. The other thing that I am asking my kids to do is to read a gospel-centric or Bible-centric book each semester this school year. I talked about this in my Amazon haul a few weeks ago, but Leah, I picked out 2 books for her to read. One semester she is going to read Lies Girls Believe and the Truth That Set Them Free. This is by Dana Gresh and also by Nancy DeMoss Wolgamoth. So this will be a wonderful book for her to read as a tween. And then book 2 for the other semester is Growing in Godliness, a Teen Girl's Guide to Maturing in Christ. This is by Lindsay Carlson. For Noah, the 2 books that I picked out for him, number 1 is This Changes Everything, How the Gospel Transforms the Teen Years. And then number 2 is Guy's Guide to God, Girls, and the Phone in Your Pocket, 101 Real-World Tips for Teenage Guys by Jonathan McKee. This is just a devotional. It has short little passages and some questions to go along with each one of the passages. So this will be just a nice little practical devotional for Noah to read through, and then a pretty, theologically deep book for him to read the other semester. All right, the last bit of curriculum that I feel like is so important in these middle school years is a planner. Now, I will reveal a little bit more about what planners my kids are using and how they are going to implement them later this fall when I do our planner reveal. But each of my kids has their own calendar, their own planner where they are keeping track of their assignments and what they are responsible for doing in homeschool every single week. So this is something I wanted to highlight here in my 7th and 8th grade curriculum picks is each one of my kids are going to be using a calendar planner. All right, guys, well, that is it. Those are my 7th and 8th grade curriculum picks for the 2021-2022 school year. If you have any questions or thoughts about any one of these specific curriculums, please feel free to comment and let me know. If you would like to see a flip through of one of these specifically or a review, I would love to hear about it. Don't forget about this week's giveaway. Be sure to comment down below to enter the giveaway. Today's question is going to be, think back to your middle school or junior high years. Tell me what your favorite subject in school was when you were in 7th or 8th grade. Leave that down below and that will be an automatic entry into this week's giveaway for that Homeschool Mom Survival Kit. All right, guys, well, I hope that you are getting geared up and ready to start your homeschool. See you later.